business sector. Now, coming into the political arena, and once you get adopted and get your position, you're dealing with people that's more, you know, I don't want to say gamey, but you know, the political. I'm not going to say gamey, but the political spectrum. And I think you know, we go back to he was 5-star General Eisenhower. Okay, and I think that was one of his big problems was he was used to, you know, giving an order and it was done. But then when he got into the political thing, he had to make the person believe that they should do it. And what interests are they going to do? So how are you going to balance that?
Well, I think you make a phenomenal point, which is what I think this whole gubernatorial election comes down to. You know, I don't have any doubt in my mind that John Corzine had all the best intentions. But his experience was coming from running a huge company where he was the #1 man.
Sure.
What he said went. Coming into a political situation where not necessarily everything he said went, and the people that he made the arrangements with held his feet to the fire for the deals that got him in the office. I don't mean anything like unsavory, but you know, the electorate that got him there, primarily unions, said, you know, you made a deal and we're going to hold you to it.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, I have not seen a situation where a government-created job has sustained the economy. If that were the case, New Jersey wouldn't be in the situation it's in.
Yes.
New Jersey has hired and increased the number of state employees over the last 4 years exponentially, and yet our economy is in a bad state. So I think
But do the state-owned businesses make money for the state?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of like if you had your own company,
sure,
right, and you had 10 employees, and none of those employees were salespeople, you better hope you got a really good product, because if you got nobody out there selling it, and everybody's just a cost center, then you're not getting very far very fast.
I understand that real good.
So what I'm suggesting,
well,
and I know in talking with from Deborah's perspective, and I know from Jim's perspective, if we don't have a public-private partnership, it's not sustainable. We've got to do things in this community that attract private enterprise. They're the ones that create the jobs that are sustainable.
But Bo, let me ask you this: how, you know, we all want to do things, and I often preach this here, and also tell people, I say, you know, there's two sides of things. There's an emotional side, and then there's the intellectual side. The emotional side that we're going to go to fight, but the intellectual side that we may be in a war. And that war, when you go to war, you know, you take everything with you, and you know, troops come in, this, that, and other, and it takes time. War is a life, you know, until the war's won. All right. So, how do we cultivate this here, this relationship with business and the political sector? Because it's going to take time. Deborah will take that. Go ahead.
Well, I think the most important thing I said at the recent library forum was that we can't hire enough people to do what we need done.
And that's why I wanted to, just for the public, I was there myself, and I tried to record it, but I was denied the right to record it, and then we could have replayed some of the things that went on there that night. But go ahead anyway.
Well, let's get on with the point.
Go ahead.
The point is, we have a lot of citizens in this town, I think a greater percentage than any other city that I've seen, who are willing to leave their house, go to meetings, advocate,
sure,
study,
yes,
research.
Yes.
I mean, it's amazing. If you talk about education, there's at
Yeah.
least 20 or 30 people riding that like a bull. If you talk about the PMUA, gosh, it's over 100. If you talk about the city council, I don't know any other community where you have so many community watchdogs.
From a diverse perspective.
From every kind of background
But
that you
then,
would
let
imagine.
me
Now,
ask
wait
you-
a minute.
Go ahead.
Take that energy, and instead of having an oppositional relationship
Yes.
where they are the enemy
Yes.
of the authority
Yes,
figures,
yes,
where they
yes.
are the enemy of the
Yeah.
state, Take that and make them our diplomats, our advocates.
Yeah.
Let's use their efforts.
Sure.
Some of these people work harder than people we pay.
Yes.
I was looking at another city's website. Do you know they did not hire a single person that hadn't volunteered first?
Wow.
Every single city employee, department head, he used to do the rescue squad. She used to do this and that.
Sure.
They made sure that you were invested in that community before they paid you a dime.
Sure.
We really need to take the people we have and encourage them.
Because we have such talent here. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, I want to agree 100% with Deborah. We have fantastic people here in Plainfield with all sorts of talents. And as Deborah said, we can't hope to hire. We don't have the resources to hire. The taxpayers can't afford it to hire people to do these things. But we have volunteers. We have existing committees that are not functioning now, which need to be beefed up, draw in more people, talented people, get them up and running. They can help solve the problems that we have. Don't let it all fall on City Hall.
Yes, but one thing I don't know, maybe I'm off point on this, but it's like the people here with the great talents, but they in hiding, like they you know what I mean? They got the talent.
Wait a minute. They didn't go into hiding with no reason. They did not go into hiding because people were so positive, encouraging, and receptive of their efforts.
I think
they didn't go into hiding because they weren't afraid.
Sure.
They didn't go into hiding because they weren't afraid that their son would lose his job on the back of the garbage truck.
Sure.
They didn't go into hiding without just cause. I think anybody who stands up in this political environment has to be incredibly courageous. Do you know what I found out? A lot of the people fighting to save Muhlenberg are cancer survivors.
Sure.
People who've had horrible things occur to them.
Sure.
Some of them are on their deathbed now and dragging themselves to meeting. You know what I tell people? 1 foot in the grave does wonders for your backbone.
That's right.
Can I get an amen?
Amen. And keep hope alive. I know you Republicans, but I'm going to say this right here. Yes, we can. But let me say this right here. You know, the situation that the nation is in today, the economic situation, you know, we need everybody to win this thing. You know, we need everybody to come up out of hiding. You know, I go back to the Battle of Russia. You know, when many different nations in Russia came together for whatever the interest, they just didn't want Nazi Germany to win. Now, I'm not going to say that they didn't have their problems, because the problems was there. But they knew that they can deal with what they dealt with their own situation, than to have someone else come in and dictate them the way that would probably would happen. And so everybody lend a hand. How can we get everybody here in this great city, the Queen City? You know what I'm saying? How do we get them to lend a hand without fear?
Get rid of the cause of the fear is the obvious answer to that question.
And what is the cause of fear?
The machine politics in the old part of the Democratic Party, to tell you the truth. Mr. Adrian Mapp, you recall, in the primary election, was here in the studio with us. He had the audacity to challenge the status quo in the Democratic Party.
Sure.
He ended up losing his job because of it.
We're right.
Now that's where the fear comes from. If we get rid of this machine, then people come out. And
do you think
I have no machine behind me. I have no political agenda. I have no political debts to pay. I want to be a one-term mayor. I won't start campaigning for re-election on the day after I'm elected. And I think that I can encourage people to come out, and I will go looking for them wherever they are and ask them, not wait for them to show up and knock on my door.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that, and I would like to make an observation in this moment in time. When you go to these events, I've been to one of the 2 recent events held for Jim. There were Jewish people, Catholic people, Protestant people, black people, white people, Hispanic people, Democrats, Republicans, and independents.
Sure.
All there getting behind Jim's candidacy. I don't mean to exclude you,
No problem.
Deborah, but what I see in that is something that I haven't seen in the last 4 years, where people of every stripe